Good morning, sisters and brothers in Christ at Lord of Life, Lutheran in Kenosha, and others who are watching this. This is Pastor Carol Jeunnette. I hope that you're doing well. Last evening, there were 5 of us at church to videotape our worship services for this evening, Maundy Thursday, and for tomorrow evening, Good Friday. Now, it's been a week since I was in the building at Lord of Life. That was last Wednesday when we videotaped the worship for Palm Sunday, and we had our last Wednesday Lenten worship. It's still hard to lead worship and to preach to an almost empty sanctuary, but I am getting a little bit better at looking at the camera when I speak rather than scanning all over the room as if there were actually people in there. It's hard, though, and it's sad. Last evening when we went in, though, what got to me was the narthex. It was so empty and so quiet. There were a few bunches of palms that we had ordered months ago to be available for Palm Sunday last week, and we had used some of them to try to decorate the place, but they were drying out and they were turning brown. The sign advertising the new members class is standing near the stairs still, a reminder of what's supposed to happen but didn't. And that, of course, got me to thinking about the children who were going to be celebrating their first communion this evening. It's all depressing. It's just one more reminder of how life has changed so quickly. John Meyer, who's one of the people who was helping out with the services, commented that this pandemic reminds him of the plagues in Egypt. Specifically, he was thinking of the next to the last plague, the plague of darkness, a darkness that could be felt, that lasted for 3 days. This darkness that we're experiencing now and that has spread over our land, over our worlds, is lasting a lot more than 3 days, though. Now, given that our first reading for Maundy Thursday worship is the story of preparation for the Passover, the beginning of the escape of the Hebrews from Egypt, it was a really good observation. And given that last evening was also the first night of the Passover celebration this year, it was also a very relevant observation. I was doing a little research on the Seder meal, the meal that's shared at the beginning of the Passover celebration. And if you've never had a chance to experience this, it's really a very powerful, powerful meal. It's carefully choreographed, and there's meaning in every action and every food and every bite and even in every drink. Now, I was looking at this and thought that this particular little piece of the Seder meal might be interesting and relevant for us at this time. During the Seder meal, there are 4 cups of wine that are drunk. Okay, it's a lot. Why 4? There are some say that the number of cups are linked to the 4 great merits of the children of Israel that they held on to while they were in exile in Egypt. First, they didn't change their Hebrew names. Second, they continued to speak their own language, Hebrew. Third, they remained highly moral. Fourth, they remained loyal to one another. They were a distinct group within Egypt, and although over time they became slaves, they did not kind of assimilate into that culture. So, let's think about these 4 merits. Okay, the first one, maybe we don't have an issue with names, but I think the other 3 might have something to say to us. The Hebrews continue to speak their own language. I wonder if we can remember to speak our language. It's kind of this Christian subculture language. It's a language of praise and thanksgiving to God and to Christ. It's a language of lament that trusts that God is with us in the midst of the suffering. It's a language of compassion and love to family, to neighbor, and to self. The second thing, the Hebrews remained highly moral. Can we remain highly moral? That's really about remembering who we are as God's children and remembering that all are loved by God. And so loving others is loving God. The third one that I wanted to bring up is that the Hebrews remained very loyal to one another. I'm continually grateful for the ways in which you are reaching out to one another and to neighbors. These connections that are between you and the care that you exhibit for one another help us to remember that the church is not a building. It's not a building, but it's the people of God who gather. And we're gathering, maybe not in the same physical place, but we are gathering, definitely gathering as a community and gathering in the Spirit. Something to think about as we move into these days at the end of Holy Week. I hope your day is good, my friends. Please remember to join us for worship this evening. You'll receive an email when the service is available. Peace be with you this day.